The final take for the final time after the St. Louis Blues beat the Dallas Stars 3-2 at American Airlines Center in an extremely scrappy and competitive game. Razor, we also got to see a little bit of the future. Brendan Dillon looked like he fits in right away.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be like a booster shot for the summer and on into camp, whenever camp is, and next season. And, yeah, he looked like an NHLer in this game tonight. And it's not like they were just playing another team that wasn't heading to the postseason. That was a team over there that's coached by Ken Hitchcock. There are expectations. There are competitions within their lineup right now, and they played hard to deserve the victory here, but the Stars made them earn it. You know, you look at the season as a whole, and I think the outcome here tonight, again, underscores where they got to get better next year, which is on home ice. They have to. This has to be one of the most difficult buildings for teams to come into, and they're going to have to win more games here on home ice. They won 22, but 8 of them were in overtime. So that's one thing. Another thing is they're going to have to find a way either to elongate their streaks or minimize their bobbles, because when you look at this season, and they were close again, and this is multiple seasons where they've been right on the cut line in the Western Conference to make the postseason. They got to find a way where they don't rely almost exclusively on scintillating net minding to win them hockey games. You think back to the beginning of the season, they got off to that wonderful start. Maybe some teams looked down their nose a little bit at them coming out of the summer and losing Brad Richards and all that. But Kari Lehtinen was the second star in the National Hockey League in October. They had the best record in the National Hockey League in early November. Then things settled down a little bit. Then they got us excited again late in the season when they went on another run and got points in 11 straight games. Again, in the middle of that was Kari Lehtinen again. Brilliant, player of the week and all that. It's wonderful. The goaltending has been spectacular, but they need more than that. They need a little more depth. They need more scoring. That can come with an improved power play. And somehow they got to make sure that they don't just rely on 2 streaks during the season to try to get them into the postseason.
And I think, and this might sound rather obvious, but you mentioned, yeah, they got to find other ways to win other than Kari Lehtinen, and they got to find better ways to lose. They lost 18 games by 3 or more goals. I mean, that's a lot. They're not one of those teams that can get there and drag a point out when the game's tight in the third period.
And,
enough.
Well, and a big part of that, and we don't need to belabor it, but when you have the record they had in second games of back-to-backs, it's a killer. Because you're not, even a great team is only going to finish around 500 in the 12, 13, 14 back-to-back sets that you have. What you have to do is you have to lose well in those. You have to hang around and lose either in overtime or in a shootout and manufacture some points. If they'd have been able to do that, they'd be a playoff team right now. They certainly won enough games, and they won enough overtime games. They just couldn't lose well, and especially in those second games of back-to-backs. And it's tough to even talk about it, but when you look at the 3 teams that made the playoffs in the Pacific Division, they combined for 37 points in overtime through losing, and the Stars got 5, and it wasn't enough.
All right, so the Stars will look forward to next year, and so will we. We hope for a busy and productive offseason for both the Stars and for you, and we'll see you next September when training camp begins.